Nobody's going to go to school today. She's going to make them stay at home. Daddy doesn't understand it. He's always said she was as good as gold. And he can see no reason because there's no reasons. What reasons do you need to be sure? Oh, 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 tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Welcome back, everyone. Those are the lyrics from the Boomtown Rats. I don't like Mondays. Well, your favorite school shooter, Brenda Spencer, is up for parole this summer again. She originally came up for parole in 2009, but she was denied parole after about 10 to 15 minutes of deliberation by the parole board. They decided that she was mentally unstable and she hadn't done enough to warrant parole. She hadn't taken part in any of the classes that they had originally told her she needed to take, and she hadn't been rehabilitated. The DA and the other attorney who was there fighting against her getting parole had made out that she was a wackanut. And because I mean, obviously, first off, she's a school shooter, and in case you don't remember, she shot and killed the principal and a custodian on January 29th, 1979, along with shooting and hitting one officer, shot him through the neck. He did survive, and she shot 8 children at an elementary school while they were waiting for the gates to be unlocked by the before school. And because of a smart thinking police officer, he drove a dump truck, trash truck, in front of the home there and blocked her path. And she shot up where she was shooting from. Now she lived across the street with her father, and the rifle that she used with the scope she had received as a Christmas gift from her father. Now this took place at Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California in 1979. Now she was given a total of 2 life terms and to be served back to back, with giving her a chance at parole. Now they did not seek the death penalty in California for her because she was a minor at the time. And like I said, again, she came up for parole in 2009. Now, at the parole hearing, as I was starting to say, the DA and the other attorney made her out to be a wackanut. Because since she's been imprisoned, she has determined that she is a lesbian, and she had a gay lover who was incarcerated with her, who had been paroled the year prior, and then got released eventually about 5 months before her parole hearing. And while she was there, she had taken a razor blade and she carved words into her arms and torso. One of the words that she carved into her arm was alone, and the other arm she carved in with the razor blade, not worthy, on the other arm. And she made a rudimentary partial carving across the upper chest area as well. But they used that, and they said that she was mentally unstable because of what she was doing, and that she hadn't taken part in any of her rehabilitation classes that she was supposed to take, and rightfully so. So she was denied parole, and 10 years later, now here we are in 2019. Her attorney does believe that she will be granted parole this time around because she has taken the classes that they asked her to take. She has been In the last 10 years, she has been a model prisoner. She hasn't had any write-ups or disciplinary issues in the last 10 years. She is currently under taking a psychotropic medication on top of it all. She has big plans for when she gets out. She wants to eventually become a forklift operator, and she has talked about going on to night school to advance her education. And she has finished her GED while she was imprisoned, but she wants to go to a trade school on top of becoming a forklift operator. These are her goals for when she gets out. And if she is granted parole, they've already lined up a halfway house in San Diego for her to go to. A little bit of background on her. Now, what background is known on her is she was born in Santa Clara, California, and she lived there in Santa Clara and in San Diego area with her father and stepmother. And she, by her account only, she says that she was molested by her father and severely and mentally and physically abused by her father. Her father has since passed away, and it should be noted that she didn't make any of those allegations about him until after he died, and she was denied parole in 2009. She said that some of the things that how the it came about. I don't like Mondays. It was a beat reporter from I think it was a San Francisco Chronicle or the San Diego Gazette. It was one of the local newspapers that was widely circulated in that area, along with another reporter. Had started calling houses up and down the street while the shooting was going on, and they were calling from home to home to home to home to home across the street where they knew the shooter was coming from, trying to see if they could get anybody to answer the phone who could tell them, what was it like to be locked in your home. What was it, give us some firsthand advantage, to the story. And one of those calls just happened to be to Brenda Spencer, and Brenda picked up the phone and started talking to the reporter. When the reporter asked why she was doing this, she said, "I hate Mondays." And she decided to do the shooting on a Monday because it made Monday more interesting. And when the reporter asked also, why she was shooting children, and why she was doing this in particular, she said that she shot the children because she liked to see them squirm on the ground after she shot them. As cold-hearted as that is an exact quote from her on this date, January 29th, 1979. She said she shot the children because she wanted to see them squirm. She shot and killed the principal and the custodian because they ran out to try to render aid to the children, and her goal was only to shoot the children. The police officer was shot when he was again trying to render aid to the children itself, but he did survive and went on to have a full career with the police department there in San Diego. So not a single one of them had, because they were born after 1979, in most all the cases, but none of them had bothered to read up on other school shootings. So we know there hasn't been any copycats of Brenda to this day, knock on wood. So Brenda is up for parole. And from all accounts, from what I have seen, she most likely will actually get parole this time around. She has done 40 years, I think it is, since she's been incarcerated. So she most likely will, get the parole because she has done well over 3/4 of her total time that she was sentenced to, or right around 3/4. So even with good time, she would have been eligible in 2009 to be released, but for parole. But she was denied, and she most likely will get it this time because she has met all the requirements that they've asked her to. Now, how did the Boomtown Rats, from the UK, how did they hear about this case? And why hasn't it been in the media here in the U.S.? Well, the Boomtown Rats, the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats, was in Atlanta, Georgia at the time of the shooting on the actual day, and he was in a radio station getting ready to do an interview, and he heard that and seen that it had come across on the teletype machine about the incident itself, and he originally penned the start of the lyrics to the song about the silicone chip in her head had gone to overload. That was the first part that he wrote down, and then the rest of the song, if you read the lyrics to it, it pretty much chronologizes the shooting and how senseless of an act it was and how senseless of a song it is. I Don't Like Mondays charted #1 in the UK, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and a couple other countries. The highest it charted here in America was in the 70s on the Billboard charts. Not a lot of radio stations wanted to play it because they knew, what the song was about, and they didn't want to, get like the PMRC, the Parents Music Resource Center. They didn't want them coming down on them, and they're big on censoring music. And in case you're wondering who started that, Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, is one of the founders of the PMRC. But so that's where the song came from. That's where this came from. Why hasn't it been in the media here in the U.S.? If you pick up the Guardian or any other news article from the UK, it has been in every single newspaper that I can find online that has an online edition around the world. But I can't find anything in the US except for a little tiny piece of it about it in the USA Today newspaper, on their online edition. I couldn't confirm that if it was actually in their print edition. Nobody wants to pay attention to, our history, because we're doomed to repeat the history, aren't we? If we've learned anything in our lives, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. Well, we didn't learn from the past, and if it's going to repeat itself. Just like all the other school shootings, every single one of them has followed a pattern. And now here we are, 40 years later or whatever it's been since Brenda, did her shooting, and we're still seeing them today, and we're going to see them again in the future. And just like all the other school shootings, like Columbine, like the 30th anniversary or 25th anniversary of that one, just is coming up here or just passed. We're doomed to repeat it. You can't make schools safe if you don't allow, some kind of intervention before the shooter gets to that point. It's a sad world we live in. We will spend our money on building billion-dollar jet airplanes for the United States Army and the Air Force that they don't want, but we won't put a tenth of that into, securing our elementary schools for the safety of our children. It's a sad, sad world. And don't get me wrong, I'm not an anti, gun nut. I am pro Second Amendment, but I am all for common sense gun control and restraints. I'm not talking about taking away people's rights, and I'm not talking about taking away, the guns from legal Biden, those who bought them and purchased them legally. But when guns get into the hands of nuts, things like this happen.